right, we're gonna start with the controversial statement and then we'll get into the compassion later. I hate what plastic surgery represents. I hate it. And I don't mean just plastic surgery, I mean like the non-invasive procedures too. Botox, fillers, you name it. I hate what they represent. And what they seem to represent in society is a hate for one's natural features and a disdain for aging, right? Because really, in a lot of ways, like, plastic surgery is denying your own humanity. And I mean that in the literal dictionary definition of the word. Like, it is denying the traits and qualities that make you human. Instead of accepting your face and your body, warts and all, you're changing it. Instead of accepting your aging, wrinkles and all, you're changing it. We as society don't only condone this, we encourage it. Think for a second about the way society talks about plastic surgery and cosmetic procedures, right? Like, I'll be watching a YouTube video about somebody who's gotten work done, and then I'll scroll down to the comments and I'll see things like, oh, but she was so beautiful, like she didn't need plastic surgery. Or like, oh yeah, it's better to save a facelift for when you really need it. And in my head, I'm just like, what do these people mean, need? Right? Because when they're saying that somebody doesn't need a procedure yet, or doesn't need a procedure because they're already beautiful, they're implying that there's somebody else who does need that procedure, right? Like, who is that person? Is that the person with the larger nose, right? Is that the person with smaller boobs? Is that the person with more wrinkles? Is that the person who needs this plastic surgery? Like, it's so insidious the way that we talk about it. Literally, you guys, we will have somebody chop off their heritage and we will call that an enhancement. I mean, it really is gaslighting, and it's, people sometimes get so subtle about it, right? They'll phrase it in ways like, she looked good before, but like, her doctor is an artist. And really what that's trying to say is, no, the girl looks better now. And so what's insane to me, what's truly crazy making, and what I feel trapped by, is we are constantly getting messages all the time that plastic surgery actually makes you better looking. But then we're told in plain language, no, that's not what we're saying. We're not saying that plastic surgery makes you better looking. She just wanted to do it because it made her feel better. But it's like, but you're giving us messages all the time that that's what's better looking in society. I mean, heck, just look at the TV. Look who gets put on TV. Look at who gets the most dates. Look at who doesn't get asked, if they're tired. It's the people who do things to their face. It's like, I can almost hear people in the comments saying something like, but yes or no, you're wearing makeup. You're wearing makeup. So like, what a hypocrite. It's the same exact thing. And it's like, yeah, actually, that's a great analogy. Let's talk about that. Makeup is all fun and games too. It's fun to play with your face. It's fun to change things. Just like plastic surgery, I'm sure it's fun to change things. But when it gets to a point with makeup where you don't feel comfortable walking outside of your house without it, where you don't feel beautiful without it, that's where we have a problem. Same with plastic surgery. When you get to a point where you feel like not enough without it, you got a problem. But you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a lot of how like people take Adderall at elite institutions in order to get good grades, or like how people take Xanax so that they're able to, deal with their everyday work grind. It's the same thing. People getting like filler in order to like simulate Instagram face. It's really like this idea that the individual is changing themselves to fit society's standards, as opposed to demanding that society change its standards to fit the human being. So what do I mean by that? I don't know if you guys remember that article about Instagram face, duck face. But the article was brilliant in that it was talking about how people get all these procedures done to themselves to kind of cherry pick the best features from each ethnicity, right? So you have like Afro-inspired lips, and you have like Asian-inspired eyes, and then you have like Middle Eastern-inspired eyebrows and stuff like that. It was this idea in the article that basically we're trying to conglomerate the best of everything and try to create this perfect idea of a human woman's face that doesn't even exist in nature. Right, because there is no one human who has all those things, who has the big lip and the like Asian eyes and the Middle Eastern eyebrows and the Native American cheekbone. Like, Make it make sense. The math is not mathing. So like we literally are saying that the beauty standard is something that does not literally exist in nature. So if you want to meet it, if you want to be at the top of the hierarchy, you gotta take a knife to the face or at least some shots. And that is the epitome of changing yourself to fit a system instead of asking the system to change for you. And I guess that's what's so fascinating to me too, is that this is the age of body positivity and this is the age of increasing feminism. And so like the irony to me is if we are supposedly loving ourselves so much as women, then why does this all coincide with an increase of us self-objectifying, right? Like why is body positivity and why is feminism increasing at the same time that we're looking at ourselves as a project to be optimized? Riddle me that. Riddle me that. Actually, I got the answer to that one. That is some wonky ass liberal Tarian Shiat. That's that kind of philosophy that says, you do you, boo. As if we all live in a vacuum and what you do does not affect the rest of us. Newsflash, it does. Literally saying like she's an adult so she can do whatever she wants and thinking that that doesn't have effects on the rest of us is asinine. It really is. And I don't think it's good feminism. I don't think it's good feminism to think that just because you have the option to do everything that now like, yeah, it's the best idea to do everything. You know, and it reminds me of that book, Brave New World. Bear with me because I read this back in high school like 15 years ago. And also I'm about to spoil the entire thing for you right now. So you've been warned. But yeah, it reminds me of that book because in that book, everybody in their social strata in life has been born and bred in a lab to love the class that they've been put into. And there's this savage, like native from New Mexico, who comes into this world from the outside, sees this brave new world, and feels so alienated and disgusted by it that he hangs himself. Spoiler. Because that's the thing. It is alienating to live in a world where the unnatural is so prevalent that the natural has no room to exist, right? That the natural's only recourse is to off itself. Whether that's with a knife to the heart or to the face, right? Change everything about yourself so that you fit in to this brave new world. When the unnatural is so prevalent, the natural's only recourse is to stop existing. Think about it. I feel like I've been unnaturally obsessed with watching plastic surgery videos for the last 3 or 4 years, but mainly because I've been searching for someone to say what I've so deeply been feeling. And it's like, they just don't, right? Like when people talk about the downsides of plastic surgery on the internet, it's always like the infections that you could get, how you could die from it, how your plastic surgery could be botched and go completely wrong. And those are all horrible things, of course, but it's like, what about the botching of the soul? Like, why aren't more people talking about that? For example, when I'm watching a YouTube video about how there are kids at school getting bullied for their physical attributes, and the people's solution is to create a fund for them so that when they're a certain age, they can go get plastic surgery to take care of those ears that are too big or that nose that's, you know, a little too Pinocchio. When I see stuff like that, I think, what is wrong with America? Right? At that point, it's not the kids who need the surgery. To quote the great Beyonce, it's the soul that needs the surgery. You know, I think I have a really interesting perspective on this too, because I have a plastic surgery belly button. When I was 7 or 8 years old, I had a hernia and they had to fix it, and they could have just sewn me up without a belly button, you know, hashtag KyleXY. But instead, they got a plastic surgeon to give me a belly button. I'm grateful for that belly button, but at the same time, it's kind of like I wish we lived in a world where it would be normal for me to not have that belly button, where it would be normal for me to be Jessie XX. You're like, wow, she really got into that TV series as a kid. Yeah, it resonated with me. For obvious reasons. You know, and that's why, and I'm sorry it took so long in this video to get to this point of saying this, but that's why I don't judge anybody who gets plastic surgery. obviously. Like, why would you ever judge someone's way of interacting with a system that they're put in? Don't hate the player, hate the game. For real. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Love thy fellow player. And I know some of you out there on the interwebs are probably hating me. Right? Because there's an elephant in the room that I haven't talked about, and that is the idea of pretty privilege, right? It's real easy for me to sit on my high horse and critique plastic surgery when I was born conventionally attractive, right? When I fit into the beauty standards of the day. Side note, thank you, Kim Kardashian, for creating those ethnically ambiguous but white-passing beauty standards. It's like, yeah, yes or no, real easy for you to sit here and judge plastic surgery. And I get it, right? But, you know, there is one thing that I'm not able to escape, and that is time. I'm going to age. I'm going to wrinkle. I am going to watch my face, you know, sink more and more and not look like the face that I have always known it to look like my entire life. In one way, that's scary enough because it's, you know, it's change. But in another way, I feel like American society makes that even worse by letting you know how much it doesn't value you as you age, especially as a woman. And I think that is so sad that as I start to get lines in my neck and as I start to, you know, watch my face get little sun marks and stuff, that I don't value those and that I don't treasure those, but that I'm like, ooh, I wish I would have done better with my skincare. How freaking sad that we think like that. Like, I really find that disgusting that we don't embrace age. I mean, you can say we do, but we hear it in jokes all the time that we don't. When women are like, ha ha ha, like a woman never shares her age. That's us saying we prefer youth. So I'm not immune to this. You are not immune to this. We are not immune to this. It's something I want to see change personally. Because I want to be cool when I'm 75. No, I want to be valued and respected. Also, side note, I don't know why I totally forgot that I'm not completely conventionally attractive. Like, I got these little small boobs, which are never appreciated societally. And, you know, what's up with that? Small boobs are beautiful. Anyway, that's a side note. But yeah, this whole mindset of there being something better or some way to enhance yourself, I really hate it. And I feel like it's only getting worse, and you can see that by the amount of normalization in social media. You can also see that by the number of increased cosmetic procedures, both invasive and non-invasive. Yeah, and I mean, that's gonna keep happening. As long as these procedures keep making people money, it's gonna keep increasing because there will be more and more advertisements to make you feel less and less secure, more and more insecure, so that you get more and more of these procedures. And I don't know if you know what that feels like, to be trapped in a world that's going the completely opposite direction of where your values stand, but it's doesn't feel great to me. But yeah, so anyway, that's how plastic surgery is taking a knife to the throat of not just natural beauty, but also internal beauty as well. Because we're not just changing the external, but we are also changing the internal soul of the way that our society operates and what it believes to be beauty. When you take that mask off, I find that the truth is actually quite ugly. Bye.
No.